lights another and can light thousands of other candles, so also one heart illuminates another heart and can illuminate thousands of other hearts. I quote Leo Tolstoy today because we have with us this evening on our flight of faith one such candle who believes in making a difference in the lives of others through his writing. It's my utmost pleasure to welcome Ruzbeh and Bharucha, who dons many hats: a writer, a documentary filmmaker, a journalist, a public speaker. Ruzbeji conducts workshops on spirituality and self growth nationally, internationally, and now online. Ruzbeji, as many of you know, is an author of 20 published books which promote oneness and walking the path of spirituality with faith and joyous surrender. One such book is Conversations with Our Beloved Dada Vaswani, a perfect disciple, a reluctant master. Ruzbeji's words have inspired many readers to face the challenges in their life with dignity, courage, and grace. We welcome you once again, Ruzbeji, on our flight of faith.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly humbled.
It's completely our pleasure. Ruzbeji, you had written about Sadhu Vaswani before you actually even met Dada, and you turned vegetarian on his birthday, that's the 25th of November. All this without even stepping into the mission at that time. Now that you look back at your journey, first with Sadhu Vaswani and then Dada, how instrumental have they been in your life and helped you on your spiritual path?
You know, a disciple, I don't think chooses the master. I think it is the master who chooses the disciple. In one's journey on the spiritual path, I think the grace of the goddess permits a lot of masters to come and guide you on that path.
True.
Now, I am a follower of Sai Baba of Shirdi.
Right.
But I've had the opportunity and honor of meeting a lot of sages.
Right.
And a few I have not met personally, but via the words and via the inspiration. And a few I have met personally. And I don't know what attracted me to Sadhu Vaswani. I have no idea, you know. I used to walk by the mission from the railway station to Maharashtra Herald, where I was a journalist.
Right.
And there was, I really don't know what attracted me towards him. But as I started reading about him, my love and devotion grew. And of course, eventually, maybe because of some good deed I've done in my past lifetimes, I got the honor of spending time with Dada Vaswani. And I will consider that as, when I'm about to drop my body,
Right.
my association with Dada will be one of the few things that I will cherish in my heart.
Absolutely. You truly are blessed. You've spent so much time with him. Truly blessed. That's nice. But as you said, rightly said, I think the Guru pulls you.
Yes.
So maybe while you were walking down that Pune station road,
Yes.
Somewhere your vibes carried on to Dada and he pulled you there.
I used to walk by and the statue of Sadhu Vaswani was there and I would just wave out to him. And, I was young and I used to just have a general conversation with him. Like one day I remember I was coming from Khandala to Pune. I used to come every day. I was settled down in Khandala for a while. And I kept telling him, that tomorrow at least make sure I get a seat, on the train. I've got to stand all the way, and the next day I have a seat. So, I
Yes,
just
yes.
felt a strange bond. Though I that time
Yeah.
didn't know anything about Sadhu Vaswani, I had no idea about Dada Vaswani. I was from Bombay. I was not very familiar with the great masters.
Wow. That's amazing. Like they always say, these connections are probably not just this lifetime,
No,
It
no,
carries
no.
on for many lifetimes. So
I believe uh, you there has to be some karma between the disciple and the guru.
true.
Not in this lifetime, but in some other lifetime. There has to be some karma,
So true.
which fructifies in some lifetime. And my meeting Dada Vaswani must have happened because of some karma in some past lifetime, where in this lifetime, Krishna and Naresh, they contacted me and said, would I write a book on Dada?
Wow, lovely.
Yeah.
That's so
And
nice.
even that time, I told them that it's not about me writing a book on Dada. Does Dada want me to write a book on him? I am a
And
nobody. I am a nobody. Uh,
mm,
so it's
I'm
been,
sure it was like that.
yeah,
Some way
yeah.
it was Dada's will. So
Yes, yes, yes. Because when I met him for the first time, also, I asked him, I said, Dada, are you comfortable with me writing? I said, you'll get many writers like me. And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, no, I want you to write. And,
wow.
it was very strange. He quoted uh, a few sentences from my Fakir also, the book I'd written.
Right.
So obviously he had done his, homework.
Research.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Wow, that's lovely. Now, Ruzbeji, you are a writer. Uh, please describe Dada for us from the eyes of Ruzbeh the writer.
Uh, you see, I had a major issue with Dada as a writer. For a simple reason, Dada was too humble, for my liking. Because as an author, you want uh, the person whom you're interviewing to be very forthcoming and talk about all the experiences and all the good stuff. And here Dada would keep downplaying himself. And I remember one day before I used to meet Dada, I would go to Sadhu Vaswani's Samadhi. And I told Sadhu Vaswani, please, all this humility and all is great. But here I'm trying to write a book. I cannot write every fourth paragraph that, oh, my master knows best and he did it. I said, I can't write an entire book on this line. And I remember I went up and Dada came through. And then before, we were getting all mic'd up and all. And he looked at me and said, you began complaining about me to the master. And I said, what do I do? You're not talking. So as an author, I yet felt that I could have got more from Dada if he was less humble and more forthcoming.
Right.
Uh,
Wow.
it was obvious that there is much more to Dada that we know of.
Absolutely.
He has a tendency of underplaying his greatness and only projecting the greatness of his guru Sadhu Vaswani.
True.
That is why eventually the title of my book is A Perfect Disciple, a Reluctant Master. Because I don't think you could get a better disciple.
Wow. So we have so much to learn from him actually.
Oh,
And
yes.
every time we meet people like, today you are experience sharing. We have so many people who've come on this platform. Every time we are getting to know a different side of Dada. And we still feel we haven't even probably touched 1% of what Dada was.
No, I don't. I do not think Dada revealed himself. I honestly think that what we know of Dada is very little.
Mm.
Because whenever you met Dada, he put himself in the shadow, in the background, and Sadhu Vaswani came.
Right.
Of course, that's his greatness. That's his greatness.
True.
That's his beauty, and that is his greatness. And
Mhm.
I don't think I will ever meet anybody as humble as Dada Vaswani. I don't think so.
So true. Completely agree with you on that completely. His humility personified, you know.
Completely.
Um,
Completely.
uh, so what happened, Ruzbeh, when Ruzbeji, when you met Dada after the release of the book, this conversations with Dada Vaswani, a perfect disciple, a reluctant master. What was your meeting like? What was Dada's reaction to the book? What did he tell you?
You know, I went, the book was ready, and I had gone with the book. And I told him, Dada, I hope you're happy. I hope I have done a little bit justice. And he
Right.
looked at me and he said, Ruzbeh, why are we getting into all this? Just leave it to the master.
Hmm.
You did your work with love and I did my work with love, and that's it. Why do we worry?
Wow.
Why do we worry?
Wow. That's
Uh,
such a
he,
deep
he,
thing.
yeah, he told me, I have not been interviewed and you have not interviewed me. It's all the master's grace.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was something else. He was from another planet.
But blessing us in this planet.
Yeah.
We've been very blessed.
Yeah. He was something else. He was, and
Lovely.
he was so sweet. Uh, he would always tell me, I enjoy talking to you.
How
So
sweet.
when I went with the book, he told me, I'm going to miss talking to you, and I said, I'm going to miss talking to you too.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, you know, uh, there were times when it was like me talking to my grandfather or something.
Wow.
That whole master thing, he never gave the vibe that I am the guru and I am the
Right.
master.
Here
And
I would like to mention something that whenever I have seen your videos with Dada, I've always felt that there was a comfort zone. I mean, personally for me, I felt there was a communication, which I think somebody else had also mentioned this to you, and I feel it very strongly as well. So I'm mentioning it, that there's a communication which is happening beyond what we can fathom. We don't
yes,
know what y'all are talking, but there's
yeah,
something else happening. And
yeah,
this I've seen time and again in each and every of your conversations. So was it actually like that for you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like that. It was like that.
Wow.
Uh, you know, uh, there were three levels going on. One was he was giving a message to the reader.
Right.
Second was he was giving me a spiritual message which was hidden in the words.
Wow.
Yeah. And the third was very importantly, I felt him always blessing me. It was always a
Yes.
blessing.
So
Like
true.
if I went with an issue and I
Hmm.
didn't talk about it,
Right.
after, when we were removing the mics and all, in 1, 2 sentences, he would tell me, he would just
Wow.
tell me, he would say, it's all right. Don't worry. Don't be sad. And
Oh,
I didn't think I had projected any kind of sadness or anything. I was play
right.
acting, but he could just see through me.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I think that was his greatness. And he would just make everybody his own. I guess that's what,
Once
yeah.
once I was not well. I was really not well, and we did the interview. Normally, our interviews will last for at least 45 minutes or more. That
Right.
day, he did the interview for 15, 20 minutes, and he just stopped. And he said, we will do it tomorrow. And
Oh,
nobody understood, but I understood that, he knows I am not well.
you're not well. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. He was something else. He was something else.
Wow. That's really nice. Before I ask my next question, let us watch a short video from one of Ruzbeji's many conversations with Dada, which is on the advent of Satyug.
Do you find do you find the world becoming a angrier place?
I think the nations, as such, not individuals, but the nations are going down the slope. They are becoming more greedy. They are becoming less altruistic. If only the nations become unselfish, we would save so much that we are spending on defense. And everyone would be happy.
There is a tendency for violence which is increasing. Violence. It's there in schools, it's there at home,
Yes.
it's there everywhere.
Yes. And that's the time spirit.
That's the time
Kali
spirit.
Yuga.
Kali Yuga.
Now this Kali Yuga is to give place to Satya Yuga. We will suddenly find ourselves if we
If you are around.
there, and the world has become new.
You believe in that?
Yes, I believe in it. I live for that day.
But the concept of time is very, very dicey up there.
Yes.
Just don't know when it is going to happen.
Sometimes I believe that it is not time that is flowing. I believe time is stationary. It is we who are flowing through time. So I believe much depends upon our speed. Time, if we think of time flowing, time flows at its own speed, the same speed it goes on. But we can hasten. I believe it is we who are flowing. Time is stationary. So it depends on whether it is a BMW or an Audi.
The way we are moving about, destroying ourselves and the planet, I don't know if we are moving in a BMW or a bullock cart towards the Satyug.
Ruzbeji, what do you think? Here Dada says that he's waiting for the day that Satyug arrives. And right now it's Kaljug. And keeping in mind what we were just discussing some time back with so much happening around in the world today, do you think it's an advent of Satyug? What are your thoughts as to what Dada was trying to say here?
First of all, I had told Dada after the interview that there is no Satyug coming, Dada. You're just too optimistic and you're too good. Mankind as a species is doomed. And he told me, no, Satyug will come. And he said, Ruzbeh, I might not be there, but you might be there. And you will remember me. So I told him, I don't need Satyuk to remember you. I'll remember you anyway.
Anyways.
So, but he told me another thing which was important. I said, you think it's only nations, the government that is responsible for hastening Kali Yuga? And he said, no, I don't. He said, I feel even families are hastening. He said, we are moving away from goodness. We are moving away from kindness, even in the family, even in the family.
Right.
He told me that we are not teaching our children the value of kindness and goodness and surrender. We are teaching them winning is important.
True.
A job is important. That car is important. So he said, when the family changes,
True.
that will make a big difference. And but he was very clear that Satyug is coming. And till the end, I never agreed with him on that. One of the few things I didn't agree with.
Right.
I kept saying, Dada, there is no Satyug coming. We are going to get worse and worse.
Right.
And he would keep smiling and saying, no, no, Ruzbeh, Satyug will come. Believe in it. Believe me, Satyug will come. I said, okay, I believe you.
Lovely. But with these current pandemics, as we were talking about, that maybe there are going to be multiple pandemics and maybe we don't know what the world is. Maybe Dada was right. Maybe Satyug is coming. It is the end of Kali Yuga.
See, listen to me. It is not about the pandemic. It is how each individual translates the pandemic to his or her life. I have known of people who have suddenly become more family oriented because of the pandemic.
True.
But I have also known a lot of individuals who have become more materialistic because of the pandemic, because they are fearing there might be another pandemic. So let us in any way save money, even whether it is the wrong way. So I do not know if the pandemic is going to have an overall impact on the psyche of each individual. Remember, most of the world is just trying to keep their head above water.
That's true.
And I truly believe that we have the good people around, but they are too busy just trying to survive. And I was talking to somebody a month or two back. I'm trying to start a project in Lonavala for, medical project in Lonavala.
Okay.
And he told me, Ruzbeh, since the pandemic has come, nobody wants to donate.
Oh.
He said it's working opposite. Instead of making people more compassionate, nobody is donating.
Right.
So I don't know if the pandemic is going to have such a big impact on the vast majority. I am certain it will have an impact on the seekers.
Right.
But I don't know if it is going to have an impact on the vast majority.
True.
Let's
hope and wait and...
Sorry. I don't know. You call me a pessimist or a realist, or I don't know. I don't have a very high regard on the mass consciousness of mankind. The individual consciousness I do,
right?
But not. Look at our society in general. Aren't we getting less tolerant? In everything, we are getting less tolerant.
True.
We are trolling everyone. The social media has become a toilet
Absolutely. That's so
No.
true.
So I don't know, but I would like to believe Dada was right.
Absolutely. Like we always do.
Yeah, I would like to believe Dada was right. And
Right.
though that was one thing I had clearly kept telling him that Dada is not happening. And he said, no, it is happening. So
Right.
I would
So
like to believe.
Let's hope Dada was right, and
Yes. So
we
I would like
do
to
look
believe,
forward to,
yes, I
yeah,
would like to believe Dada was right. And let's hope Satyug takes place.
right,
Let's hope Satyug takes place.
right. I do believe that people's perspective towards life has changed. As you say, maybe certain individuals may not be the masses, but yes, I think a movement has started, and let's hope it uh, builds up, and then maybe.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Are there any experiences you had with Dada after he left his physical body where you felt his presence or he gave you any messages or any guidelines?
I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth talking. Uh,
Mhm.
the first experience I had was Dada was in the hospital, and one evening I felt his presence very strongly with me.
Mhm.
It was, I don't know the time, it could have been around 9 or something, in the night. And I
Right.
felt his presence very strongly with me. And I next day called up Naresh
Mhm.
and I said, how's Dada?
Mhm.
And he said, he's not good. Suddenly, yesterday, is I think he was put on the ventilator.
Oh,
And I told him, at this time I felt his presence. And he told me, yeah, Ruzbeh, it was around this time he was put on the ventilator.
oh my God. Mm.
Then I had gone to pay my final respects. And I noticed all plastic flowers all around him.
Right.
I said, what the hell? Why aren't there real flowers?
Right.
And then a day or two later, he came in my dream and he said, even flowers have life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, so, and there have been times when I'm not really thinking of him and suddenly you just feel his presence.
Wow. So the connect is still there.
Oh, yeah, I hope
Lovely.
so. I hope so. I hope so.
Wow.
I
That's
would like to believe, that he is this whole talk is happening because he is putting the seed.
true.
Yeah,
Very, very true.
yeah,
In one of your conversations again with Dada, he spoke to you about soul power. They're
yeah,
talking about soul connect, and he spoke to you about soul power, and then he also mentioned something about Gyan Dan.
yeah.
So, can you just explain briefly how important are these, for one's spiritual journey?
He told me that we need to increase our soul power.
Hmm.
So I told him how. So first he told me by surrendering.
Hmm.
And I said, Dada, you're asking too much from the common man surrendering. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So he said, okay, then give, give without expecting anything in return.
Hmm.
He said, more you give without expecting anything in return, your soul power increases. Don't even
Interesting.
expect gratitude or a thank you.
Hmm. Wow.
Just, just give because it's the right thing to do. Just give because it's the right thing to do. Give because that is what makes your goddess, God, Guru happy. Then he said, bless those who hurt you. Bless those truly who insult you. serve those who have harmed you. You want to increase your soul power, this is the way to do it. So, and I told him it's all hard, Dada. It's all hard when you're out there in the world. He said, I know it's hard, Ruzbeh, but that's how you got to do it. Life is not easy. Spirituality is not easy. You got to work on it. He's saying there's no sense praying for some time and then not living your prayers.
Right.
About Dhyandan, he had told me, see, we were having a conversation and, we were talking about Dhan.
Mm-hmm.
And that time I asked him that, Dada, why do all the scriptures say Gyan Dan is the highest Dan?
Right.
It is even above Annadan. So he said, Ruzbeh, when you empower somebody with knowledge of right and wrong, you are taking that person away from darkness into light. There is no Dan greater than that. And I said, what else do you think is Gyan Dan? He said, when your ego tells you to do something, don't do it. That is automatically walking the path of Gyan. When your ego tells you to do something, don't do it. Because your ego is always guiding you on the wrong path. He said, when your ego tells you to avoid something, that time do it. Then he told me that your own prophet, that is my prophet, Zarathustra, he had talked about God and devil, Aura Mazda and Ahriman. And he has said that the fight is who is going to succeed in each individual, Aura Mazda or Ahriman. And he said, the more you move towards God and less towards the devil,
Right.
that is Gyan. And the more you help others to move towards God and move away from the devil, that is Gyandan.
Wow.
And then he told me something very sweet. He said, nothing belongs to us, Ruzbeh. Everything belongs to God. Teach that to the world. He said, what sight is to the body, wisdom is to the soul.
True.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a lot of actually food for thought. I think one really needs to sit down and think about, this Gyandan. I think that's why teachers are given that kind of, or gurus, we give that, and our Hindu culture, we give so much of importance to the guru.
Yeah,
I
because the
think
very word guru is guru, dispeller of darkness is guru.
True.
So,
Wow, lovely. Apparently, there are many conversations, Ruzbeji, which were not included in your book. Can you share some of those with us?
see, Dada was very, time and again, he would say a line or two, which when we were not recording or anything, we didn't have much time, in between. But he made it very clear that he didn't like an individual putting down somebody. he kept emphasizing that you should never put down anybody. He kept emphasizing that God has given you the tongue. It can take you to heaven or it can take you to hell. Use it very carefully. Otherwise, don't use it.
True.
He once told me, Ruzbeh, a lot of people will try and hurt you. But just as you accept the roses, accept the thorns also.
Wow.
Don't become negative. And the best part of there was a fragrance in him, there was a khushbu in him that leave everything to the master. The master knows best. The master knows best. The master knows best. Joyous surrender to the master, period. I think if he really, anything came out, it was this, Any question I would ask him, many times he would say, the master knows. I said, yes, I know the master knows. I want to know what you know. And then he would just smile and he would say, Ruzbeh, the master knows. So sometimes it was very infuriating as an author.
True.
So then what I started doing is I started reading things that Sadhu Vaswani had written. And then I would ask him, the Sadhu Vaswani has said this, now please translate it for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you found your way with him.
Yeah, sort of, not much. I mean, I yet feel for every 5 lines he answered a question, he had 50 lines which he didn't answer.
But I'm sure you understood it somewhere.
I understood it, but I wanted it to come from his words so I could put it in the book. It was about Dada Vaswani's philosophy. I had to write his philosophy. I understood everything that he was not telling me, but it was very infuriating that he wasn't telling me. I wanted it on paper.
True.
And there he was, sometimes he would just pretend he didn't hear me. Yeah.
He was like a small child.
Yes, yeah.
Very innocent.
Yeah, he would just pretend he didn't hear me and then he would start off with another conversation. That was my cue, that I'm not going to answer you. Don't ask me.
Wow. That's amazing. I can only imagine the time you spent with him and how beautiful it must have been. I mean, of course, infuriating for an author, definitely. But, those moments must have been so, so special.
No, they were very special. They were very special. And his concern for me, his concern for my daughter Meher.
Right.
Every time he would ask me, how is your daughter? Every time I was leaving, he would tell somebody, get the prasad for Meher, some chocolates, some biscuits, something or the other. Not once did he send me empty-handed.
There's so much we learn from him, actually. Every time we hear, there's so much we learn.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. In your book, sorry, please carry on.
I had asked him once that, for the common man, what is the best thing? So he told me, spiritually. I said, yeah, spiritually. What is the best thing for a common man, Someone who is trying to keep his head above water.
Right.
His first answer was always surrender. And I said, forget surrender and all is not happening. Please tell me something else. So he told me, okay, sit down for 15 minutes every day and repeat whatever name you believe in. And he said, do it at one particular time. It is your appointment with God.
Wow.
And he said, then afterwards, try and do it twice a day or thrice a day. He said, that itself will be enough for the common man.
Wow.
No rituals, no fasting, no nothing.
Such
You
a
see,
simple,
yeah,
yeah.
he said, just do so much. That will be enough. Just do so much.
Wow. But sometimes simple things, I think, are one of the most difficult things to do,
Yeah,
isn't it?
we get too preoccupied with life and our ego.
That's so true.
So in the end, God is waiting for an appointment with us.
And we need to find the time, especially now, more so now.
Yeah, we are a little too busy for God.
In your book, again, Conversations with Dada, you all discussed about the spiritual duties of a householder. So, did Dada share any additional stories or thoughts on this?
No, see, one thing was that from childhood, the habit should be given to every child to spend an X amount repeating the name of the goddess God Guru. He's saying that is the foremost duty of an adult. Second, live by example.
Right.
Okay. And third most important thing is learn to give without showing that you're giving.
Mm,
He's saying there's too much of show going on.
true.
So he said we have to teach our children, very importantly, to take little time in the day to be with God. We as adults have to live by example.
So true.
And third is, if you got 2 rotis, give half a roti to some poor person.
Wow.
Once he had told me, I remember once he had told me, Ruzbeh, don't get so busy.
Mm,
He said, it's not good for the spiritual path. Don't get so busy.
mm,
Always have time for contemplation, chanting, sitting by yourself. He said, even in seva, don't get so busy. He said, a time will come when you will be doing seva, but don't get so busy in seva that you don't have that quiet time for reflection and contemplation and meditation.
right. And I think that's important to build up on our soul power.
Yes, that is how the soul power really starts.
So true. So true. Ruzbeji, I wish we could just continue. We are having such a fantastic time, but the time is running, but before we end this session, we would definitely like to do a quick rapid fire round. We would ask you. I would rather tell you a word, and if you can tell us the first word that comes to your mind when you hear this word. Simple. Whatever is the first thought, the first word. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Poetry,
Kabir,
power,
Sai Baba or Shirdi,
devotion,
Dada Vaswani,
free will,
each individual,
faith,
foundation,
love.
everything,
Dada.
humility.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ruzbeji. Like all good things come to an end, so also unfortunately this evening. Many a times in life there are times when words fail us. I think for me, today is one such moment. I'm very humbled and very honored to be in conversation with you on our flight of faith. I would like to thank you, Ruzbeji, for taking the time out for us this evening and showing us many facets of Dada through your experiences with him. We are all going back a little richer, a little more knowledgeable, and a little more inspired. I'm sure there's so much more that you can share with us, and we really do hope to see you once again on our flight of faith. Thank you once again, Ruspeji, Dada Sham.
Dada.